Very good morning. We are continuing with our module 2. We are discussing about control statements, and today we will discuss some more options available in our control statements. We'll start with the discussion now. Just I'll share the screen. So this is what we are discussing. We already discussed selection statements and iteration statements. In the last class, we have come across that is while, do while, and for loop. And the statement which is like the syntax while condition and do while, that is exit control, do with while condition, and then with the for loop, which is with the syntax initialization, condition, increment or decrement. This is what the statement. So we are continuously using this particular iterations, and one or other way in all the programs, either while loop or do while loop, and more frequently for loop we are using. Okay, now in today's discussion we will discuss why for loop and any other alternatives for the for loop. That is what our discussion, which is very particular to Java. Okay, because today we will learn few things which is particular to Java. As I told earlier itself, while statement or do while statement or for loop statements are nothing new to any particular to Java. Okay, it is common in all the languages. In C or C++, you will write like this itself. Okay, now see, whenever you are writing any for loop, normally for loop you are writing for an array, is it not? To trace the elements in an array. If I declare one array int a is equal to some 365 7 like that, I initialize it there itself. Okay, now see, I wanted to trace the element. I'll write the entire program. Just I wanted to display the elements of an array. What you are doing, you are using for loop. For loop, how to declare int I is equal to 0. Uh, and after that, you are writing the length. Okay. This is what new things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can write like this. Okay. For loop I is equal to 0. I is less than 6. Okay. But uh, instead of counting that, just I'll write a dot length. A dot length, that means the length array name is a, and I'll define length. And please remember, you should never give this braces with this. Length is one keyword which gives the number of elements in an array. Okay, and after that increment I plus plus, and after that you will display that. Okay, so this is what normally we are tracing an array. Okay, see the variations of for loop. Please remember, here itself I'll tell. Okay, for loop, most of the time, like you will declare what is int outside, and after that you will initialize here. Okay, like this you can write. This is one way. Okay, instead of that, see, I mean, use of I is only for this for loop. If I am using, means you declare there itself, where you are using there itself. Okay, so most of the time we used to write there itself. Okay, instead of defining what it is, then using that. Okay, in the for loop itself we will write. Okay, so that is what actually another, like how you can use for loop. And you also know that another variation, you can declare more than one variable, like int I is equal to 0 comma j is equal to 10. Like that you can define, okay, some condition, and after that you will incrementing I plus plus j minus minus, something like this you can write. So comma is having a major scope in for loop. You can write like that. Okay, initialization part with comma you can do, and condition, then increment or decrement with comma separator. Okay, because you learned, and in test also you have written separator comma is one such separator. Okay, inside for loop you can use that also. So please remember all these things, like when you're if you wanted to define two things together, okay, you can do like this one. I think if you remember, I initialized int a is equal to 100, a is equal to 100, and b is equal to 200 or something like that. I wanted to find the midpoint. Using for loop also you can do that. Okay, that means you are initializing that. Okay, you know a is equal to 100 and b is equal to 200, and some condition you will write if a is less than 0. Okay, that means if a is less than particular number you can write or 200, you'll go on incrementing, or you can make beyond decrementing. Some condition you put so that this particular process will take place together. Anyway, just here, not to define any logic. Okay, just I wanted to tell here is comma separator you can use inside the for loop. Okay, and you can initialize there itself. These are the two things. But one thing is always clear, like instead of writing like this, okay, if I define an array which contains so many elements, so many elements, okay, then how to give the length? Either I have to give a dot length, or I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So many elements I have to count. If you do simple mistake, okay, your array leads to exception as such. Okay, so such things are there. For that purpose, Java is with alternative. You just first observe how this particular process takes place. Same array, once again I'll declare. Okay, so instead of identifying length and all, just I'll write like this. See this? See the syntax? I'll take one variable, any variable, okay, and I'll assign that with the array name. See the syntax? See the syntax carefully. Okay, I'll take one new variable and I'll assign. It is called scope. Okay, resolution, that is colon, not semicolon, it is fully colon. Okay, colon array name. You just write, and after that, you just instead of printing this, okay, don't print like this. You just print I. Okay, to show the difference, I just written that itself. Okay, don't write like that. You just write I. See, this version of for is popularly known as for each. Okay, for each. But in Java, in other languages, this particular process is called for each, and we are also having a keyword for each. But in Java, we are not having keyword for each. You please remember, but it works like a for each. For each is very popularly tracing of elements in other languages, and we are also having keywords in Python and like some other languages. Okay, but here in Java, same operation of for each, but we not name that as for each. Okay, just the syntax indicates that you use it for each. Okay, so how to use that? Just I'll write one simple program. Okay, just learn the things how you can write the program. Just I'll write one program class A, and always public, don't make it short word, p dot say stats. Okay, public static void main, and this is what the syntax. Okay, always See, please remember always as a exam writer, like finally you are writing this as an exam, is it not? So please always remember, try to represent the syntax of the programs, like code syntax you have to write. Okay, it need not necessary to mug up or something like that. Okay, uh, just don't worry about any syntax error if you do. Okay, you just try to represent the particular code what you understood. Okay, anyway, just I'll take it. Okay, always int, is it not? I'll take double array, just one array I'll declare, something like this. I'll declare. Okay, now I wanted to trace, I wanted to do the sum of these elements. Okay, so what we'll do is, I'll write for each. For loop, instead of that, I'll write for each. First, we'll try this with the for loop. For loop means how to trace. You have to initialize one array, and you should know the length of the array, d dot length. Okay, then I plus plus. Okay, then we'll define one variable double. Sum is equal to, like that we'll initialize. Okay, then sum is equal to sum plus d of I. See this? This is what you are doing, is it not? Okay, I'll always use the braces, and outside the brace you just print system dot out dot print ln sum. Okay, see, this is how to trace the element. Just I wanted to add the array elements, and I'll display the sum. This is what the thing I used. Okay, same thing I'll change with for each. This is traditional way of representing the for loop. Okay, now instead of this, what I'll do is just I'll delete. Okay, see how you can do the modification for each version of for loop in Java. Okay, and what we'll do is, see, always whenever for each you are using, you are taking a variable, you have to take the variable which is of type that array. Okay, we are tracing double array, so your variable should be of double type. That you should not forget. Okay, you take one variable double x, and you are pointing that to D. Okay, that array, is it not? And after that, you just write sum is equal to sum plus, I will use this operator, which you know that sum is equal to sum plus, okay, x. Okay, the meaning is sum is equal to sum plus x. Okay, I'll write like this. That's all. See how good it is. And outside that, as earlier, you just print system dot out dot print ln sum. You'll get the same result. Okay, see, this is what our for each version. This is called for each version of Java. Don't write any keyword for each. If you do like that, it is an error. Okay, because Java is not having the keyword for each, but it works like for each. Okay, with this concept. Okay, you have to take one variable. Okay, and you have to assign that to an array, like how you are doing other operation, like that you have to. So for each means what? It need not necessary to know the length of an array. You should not worry how many elements are present. Okay, what it will do is it will trace from starting to the last element. Okay, see, it will go on tracing one by one by one. Okay, first zeroth element, first element, second element, like that. The entire elements in an array will be traced with this variable. Okay, so that's what about for each. And always you should remember, like, that type of the variable what you are using for the tracing should be similar to the array what you are tracing. Okay, now see what is the purpose of that. For each optimizers, your loops save some typing and of course your time, is it not? Tracing the length and tracing a of I means what. See, I think you have observed traditionally how to write the for loop and using for each how I trace the elements. And of course, this is what it is named as enhanced for loop. Okay, enhanced, the word enhanced for loop. Syntax is type of variable name. It is pointing to that collection. Array is one such collection. Okay, for each is user name mainly in collection class. Okay, anyway, that you will discuss later. Anyway, array is also a type of collection, so it is pointing to that. Okay, so here this variable is set to each loop iteration. It only defined inside the loop. Okay, you can't write this outside declaration and you are using here. Okay, you have to define there itself. That's why it syntax itself like this. An array you are tracing. So the variable contains an element, not an index. That is very important. Okay, here when you trace this particular value, okay, this x contains value, not an index. Okay, x first value 2.4, second 3.5, 1.3. That is what stored in x. It is not stored 0, 0, 1, 2, like for loop I is equal to 0, like that. If you trace, okay, it will not work like that. Okay, so that's what about the for enhanced for loop. Now immediately, single dimension means I think you have understood. What about this? This is called multi-dimensional array, is it not? So how to trace the element? If it is for loop I is equal to int I is equal to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus, and one more loop you have to trace, int j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus, then system.out.print. It is not a keyword. Okay, just I have presented, that's all. A of ij. Okay, so this will print the values. At least if nothing is there means you will get 0, 0, 0. I asked one such question in the test. Anyway, we'll discuss that separately. Anyway, you'll get these so many zeros. But using for each, how to trace? Because when you are capable of tracing single dimensional array, you should also know using for each how to trace multi-dimensional array. Okay, so that is also another important concept which you should know. Along with single dimension, multi-dimensional array handling also you should know. So now just I'll write the syntax of writing that. See this, for I'll declare anyway, it is of type int itself. Okay, int. Okay, it is two dimensional, is it not? So it is two dimensional. What I'll declare is one dimensional, one variable, which is pointing to a. See this? See how to write? Earlier, what is the difference? If it is single dimension means what we used to do? Okay, then for each means what? We'll declare one variable where we are pointing to that. Is it not? Now it is two dimensional. Then variable should be with one dimension. Okay, so please remember that. Next, for loop, for each, you declare one more variable to trace that array. See the syntax. First you take one single dimension to trace A, and you take another variable to trace X. Okay. Now same thing, if I wanted to compute sum should be with Y. Okay. So Y contains the elements at location 0, 0, 0, 1, okay, 0, 2. Like that, it will go on tracing the elements. Okay. Is it clear? In two-dimensional array, first what you have to do, you have to declare one particular variable of single dimension which will pointing to this A. Okay. After that, you declare another variable Y which is pointing to this, that is X. Okay. So this is how to handle single dimension as well as multi-dimensional arrays. See, when you are discussing this particular for each, okay, before practically observing how to represent and how to use, okay, you should know many things related to for each, okay, especially this single dimension. It is applicable to multidimensional also. Okay, if I declare one variable int a, okay, 3, 4, 6 or something like this. Okay, what I'll do is for I'll declare one variable x and I'm pointing to a. Okay, and after that system dot out dot print x something I'll print. Okay, you'll get the output 3, 4, 6 like this. If you wanted to do some dancing with this x, then what happens? So, any idea? You can give your answer. Come on, be fast. Types. If I am modifying, see, you know, x is a variable which is pointing to a, and it will trace from the beginning to end. Okay, starting element to end element. Okay, if somebody tries to dance with x and they will modify x, then what happens to x? Whether you will get 3, 4, 6 itself, or see, I am multiplying x value with 10. So what happens? Be fast. Being a Java learner, you should know what happens when you do some changes to that variables. Any idea? If you change the value of x, whether uh, it will change the array value? Yes, Shashank, how this particular value, if you change the value of x, x is tracing, is it not? When it is tracing, if you change the value, if you change the value of x, then what happens? If you change the value of x, Tanuja, if you change the value of x in the for each loop, anybody can answer? Because in the for loop, you are traced with the value. It is pointing to some a. And inside the program, if you change, if you modify x, okay, if you add some 10 or something like that, if you do, then what happens? Okay, Shahid, because uh, actually for each is one different version of generally available in other languages, and here it will trace the elements in an array from beginning to end. Okay, so my question is, if somebody tries to modify that inside the loop, what happens? Siddharth, any answer? Hey, please remember, whatever you do, okay, it will not reflect on X. Okay, it will not reflect on X because X is considered as read only. Okay, X is considered as read only. Okay, because once you take that variable for each, okay, it's not possible to alter that. So it will not affect the value what you are fetching. Okay, so that's what the difference between for and for each. You please go through that. It uses index to fetch the array elements, for loop, general for loop, and for each enhanced for loop, it uses iteration variable. Termination by the loop condition, what takes place in for, here no condition, it will trace from start to end. It is actually introduced from Java 1, but it is introduced in Java 5. So it can be iterate in any order, ascending or descending for loop. Okay, because you can trace any element actually in for loop, general traditional for loop. But in for each, it is tracing from begin to end. Okay, if it is initial to end element, it will trace in one stretch, one flow itself. It is difficult. Random access of element is allowed in for each. If a of 5, something like I type, means I can extract the a of I by defining I is equal to 5. But here it is not possible to trace any particular, randomly any particular element. Okay, so syntax already you have come across. Here, that's what we have written. Okay, so that's where the difference between for and for each. So practically how to type and all that we'll see later. After learning for each, next is jump statement. Jump statement in Java, because jump statement, yeah, others, you written all elements are added with 10, but it is even though it looks, because syntactically it is correct, is it not? So Java compiler will not generate an error. Okay, because just it thinks that whenever you are using that syntax of for each, X is read only. So whatever you do, it will not reflect on X. Okay, so logically it will give that 10 is added to X, but in fact it will not be like that. Okay, so that's where the difference, because for each starting to ending, and it acts as a read only, so it will not affect on an array elements extraction. Okay, please remember, very important point. Anyway, very good, you just added, but it will not reflect on X. X is read only. Now, there are two types of jump statements, break and continue. You know that if for loop, once again, any loop, okay, if I wanted to come out of the loop, so what I'll do, I'll write a keyword break. You can apply the break, and whenever you write break, it will take you outside of that block. Okay, outside of that loop, I is equal to 0, because it will print 0, 1, 2. Okay, if it is 3, it is break, it will come to next statement. Okay, so that is what use of break statement. Like that, continue, and here continue means what? If I is equal to 0, okay, it will print. If I is equal to 1, it will print. If I is equal to 2, it will print. If I is equal to 3, it will go to next. Okay, it will not come to this statement. That's all. It will print next statement, that is 4, next statement 5, like that output you will get. But 3 means it will continue. Okay, so this is what, to skip that value. Okay, skip that value, we are using continue. To come out of the loop, we are using break statement. So always please remember these two syntax. Okay, break means what, continue means what. Particular condition you are just skipping. Okay, that's what continue. And break means you will stop, you will come out. Okay, that's where the difference. Now, very important is using break as a form of goto. Okay, goto is actually earlier in C, it was there. Whenever just one simple C program, just I'll write. Okay, just if you remember, main. Okay, some particular int variable you will declare int a is equal to 5 or b is equal to 6, something like that we'll write. And there what we will write, so many code. If a is greater than, okay, greater than some 4, we'll write go to some label. Okay, so many codes are here. Some codes are here. Just I'll write label L1, where I'll make b is equal to 7, something like that. Okay, and there once again I'll check if b is less than 5, I'll make it go to L2. L2 is somewhere here. So this is what go to, use of go to. Okay, see, somewhere you will come here, you will skip this particular part of the code, and some condition, it will take you to this particular location. It is completely unstructured. Okay, program is not at all readable. Okay, and today you may understand what you have written. If you trace after an year or after some of years, like if you wanted to change that, okay, if you do some modification, definitely it is difficult to trace the program. So it is not at all structured. Okay, the program should be structured properly so that, okay, it is easy for any particular evolution. Okay, so changing, because always whenever you are writing the program, it is not for the throughout your life. Okay, as time goes, because whenever software means two things you should never forget, that is, as time goes, okay, your requirement also changes, like that the development. Okay, so always, you are writing something for today means it should be valid for throughout. Okay, like that it should accept the changes. That's why the object oriented programming is very, very, very important and taking a major place in this corporate world. Okay, because reflect to the change, because maintenance continuously, you might have listened. Maintainability, your language should support maintainability. Okay, it should reflect to the changes, and some change comes means immediately you should be able to handle. When it is possible, if your program is structured, then only. And you know that this type of some condition, I wanted to go somewhere, all these things are essential things in the programming. Okay, you can't ignore that also. Okay, because some cases it is definitely mandatory to take the particular control to some particular location. But as I told, Java is famous for what it is not having rather than what it has, is it not? So Java thought that, oh, it is very difficult, we'll remove that. Java always thinks like that. Oh, pointer, oh, very difficult. You just remove, because so far we not at all come across anything in and these pointers, and I know definitely you all are happy about that. Okay, and that's what Java. That's why Java is famous. Okay, Java thinks that, oh, it is very difficult. You just leave that. Okay, you just throw it. I am having alternative to that. That's what Java tells. Okay, so Java is with a form of break which looks like goto, but it is more civilized, civilized version of goto, civilized version of goto, like that I can tell. Okay, goto is not civilized as it is. Okay, so Java comes with civilized goto. Civilized goto means what? So there should be some particular control on goto, where it goes and where it comes, all these things. Okay, and here tagline is Java tied this goto with break statement. So Java is with break with label. Okay, break with label concept, which is alternative to goto, which is also called as civilized version of goto, which is used in Java. Okay, and how to use that, all we'll discuss in next class. Okay, so this is what we discussed in today's class, that is for and for each, break and continue, and examples how to discuss. Okay, so we are in the verge of our second module, and we'll discuss few things about break and continue, and some examples of for each also we'll discuss in next class. Okay, thank you. Anyway, one more thing about test. Okay, I think I don't know how really you have written. Anyway, please remember, all of you, uh, writing, when you're representing, always use the syntax. You take the example of syntax to represent. For language writing, it is very essential. Okay, so don't worry much. Anyway, I'll share the scheme also. It is not necessary I'll verify like that itself. It is for your knowledge. When you will get any question in the exam like that, means how to answer. For that purpose, I'll share the scheme. Okay, and in the test, don't worry much about the representation. Thank you. Good day.